Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Lubem. If you are new, subscribe. Don't forget to turn on that notification bell. In case I release a video, you can follow up. So today what I want to talk about in this video is placenta. What is all about? What is placenta, the function, and why is it important during pregnancy? So if you have heard of placenta before, you'll be wondering, what is this placenta you talk about? Placenta and umbilical cord, they are not the same thing. They are two different and they serve, although similar function, but not exactly the same. In this video, what I will talk about is placenta. So first things first, what is placenta? Placenta is like a vascular organ, like it's membranous in nature. What happens is a portion of the fetus, or let's say the embryo, after fertilization, or I'll say after implantation. Implantation just has to do with when the fertilized eggs implant itself into the endometrium of the uterus. So now you have the fetal side, which is from the embryo, and then you also have the maternal side, which is from the uterus, the endometrium. So it's like two people who come together to form this particular channel or find this particular exchange barrier, which is the placenta. So now the fetal side, which is the embryo, will bring its portion, and also the mother side, which is the uterine side or the endometrium of the uterus, will also bring its own part, which will form the placenta. So that's what it's all about, placenta. And this placenta is very important, because for a growing fetus in the uterus of a mother, remember the embryo has not really fully grown to be a human being that can, do all the other things that a normal adult, a normal human being can do. So it normally depends on the mother for most of its nutrient and some of the things that could actually nurture the baby or the fetus. So what are the functions of the placenta? So placenta has, I'll subdivide it into basically 3 or 4. First function is the respiratory function. Now, the respiratory function is just a function in the sense that the lungs of the fetus or the growing baby is not strong enough to partake in gaseous exchange, right? So you have the baby going inside the womb, but then the lungs are not strong enough to actually, start breathing. So what happens is the oxygen from the mother's blood usually diffuses into the oxygen of the fetal blood. Now, someone could ask, how is it possible? The fetal blood has a higher affinity for oxygen. That is, the hemoglobin in the red blood cells of a fetus or an embryo has a very high affinity for oxygen. So remember, there is a higher oxygen pressure in the mother's blood, meanwhile a lower compared to that of the embryo. So what happens is diffusion from higher concentration to lower concentration. The oxygen from the mother will diffuse into the fetal blood, which it's all about respiratory function. And also we'll have the endocrine function. The endocrine function has to do with mostly hormones that are being secreted by the placenta and the nourishment that comes from it. Now, there is a particular hormone known as human chronic gonadotropin. This hormone secreted by the placenta, actually what happens is it protects a particular organ that produces other 2 important hormones. Remember, the human chronic gonadotropin protects an organ that will produce 2 hormones, which are the progesterone and the estrogens. These hormones are very important in terms of pregnancy. In fact, progesterone sometimes is considered as the pregnancy hormone. Why? Remember, the human chronic gonadotropin is also a sex determinant kind of. It helps if the baby is supposed to be a male, right? It will help to influence the testicles to start producing sperms, or to start the gonads to start producing testes, and also for further male sexual characteristics. And then for the progesterone, what happens is it will help act on the breast, the uterus, and also the pelvic ligament. On the uterus, what happens is it helps to enlarge the uterus. Remember, the baby is growing. So as the baby is growing, it needs an external space for it to contain. So what happens is the progesterone will keep expanding the uterus to contain that growing baby. And on the breast, it helps to enlarge the breast, helps the mammary glands to also enlarge, so that when the baby starts sucking the breast, there will be enough milk that could nurture or nourish the baby. And also we'll have the pelvic ligament. What happens is it will soften the pelvic ligament in case of labor. So when the woman goes into labor, it's not going to find it difficult in trying to push the baby out. And then we also have the estrogens. Estrogens also does a similar function to that of progesterone. And also what will happen is it will try to avoid the baby from coming out on its own. That's called expulsion. Now, the baby and the cervix are exposed to the vagina. right? So sometimes the body, how the body was programmed, this estrogen also prevents the baby through the cervix from bursting out just without any particular cause, or maybe prior to labor. It helps to protect that. And also the estrogen acts on the breast and also helps the breast to enlarge and also give it a more expenditure in terms of mammary glands being produced to nurture the milk, and also have the nutritive function. The nutritive function is just basically exchange of food nutrients from the mother to the growing baby. Now remember, the fetal blood, or let's say the growing baby inside the womb, cannot feed itself. It does not have any locomotive function yet to go find food and eat, right? So it depends on the mother's food, what the mother eats for it to survive. So the placenta, basically what happens is it will exchange this nutrient between the mother and the growing baby. And also the last one, which is the excretory function. The excretory function is just basically the toxins that are being produced from the fetal blood is just exchanged with that of the mother. So now you have the excretory waste products from the fetus are directly channeled into the placenta, into the woman's blood, and then the woman excretes it out of her system during pregnancy. So you could notice that in some, there's another type of hormone also known as relaxin. Relaxin, that's among the endocrine function of the placenta. Relaxin also, what will happen is it will relax, it will help relax the pelvic ligament. Remember when I say the pelvic ligament in terms of endocrine function, it will relax the pelvic ligament and also help the mother to avoid the baby from expulsion, so that it should not just burst out just like that. So these are the functions of placenta. And if any before the 6th week of development, or at the 6th week of development, or that's the first trimester, if there is anything that was to happen to the progesterone, that's after the woman has conceived, if there's anything that happened to the progesterone prior to that particular point in her life, then you will notice that there will be a possible case of abortion. So most times when the woman reaches her first trimester, they are being monitored on a regular basis. And this human chronic gonadotropin, human chronic chorionic gonadotropin, is also one of the most important factors when it comes to pregnancy tests. In some pregnancy tests where urine is being used to find out whether the woman is pregnant, you will notice that there will be a high concentration of human chronic gonadotropin in the woman's urine. And these are some of the bases for some pregnancy tests which they are being used, strips and whatever, to know if the woman is pregnant. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any other question you want to ask in person, you can send that to my email, or you can write that in the comment section and I'll address it. If you want me to make a video on a particular topic you want me to talk about, just put that in the comment section and I will talk about it. Thank you for watching.